Okay, everybody, as we all know, the process for compliance is changing just a little bit. Not a whole lot, just giving you guys some more specific lists on the documentation that's needed for your compliance report that the brokers will be checking. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what that process looks like right now. Again, not a lot is changing. We're just giving you a little more on your checklist, and we're not doing packets anymore. We're doing away with the packets and we're going to do the individual forms, but it's really easy. It's really simple. I'm going to walk you through it. And there's some really great features with this. So I'm just going to get started with a brand new, fresh opportunity here. All I've done is created it. That's it. I haven't done anything else. Once you create the opportunity, of course, it's going to bring you into the opportunity and it's going to put you on the details tab. From there, you're going to go to documents. Now, we're all used to just going ahead and clicking this start transaction button, but I'm going to pause you right there. Before you click start transaction, I want you to get in the habit of coming over here where it says pick checklist type. Okay, this is very important. Each checklist is different. So if I do this drop down, you're going to notice that we still have all transactions here, but that's going to be going away November 1st. And you're going to start to see where we've got Tennessee buyer land contract, Tennessee buyer residential contract, Tennessee new construction contract. So this is the buyer side as well. Virginia, you're also going to be getting lists for land and new construction. And Virginia and Tennessee are also going to be getting lists for commercial contracts as well. Same thing for listings. All transaction option is going to go away, and you're going to see lists specifically to the type of transaction that you have. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to jump into the Tennessee buyer residential contract. Okay. Once I click that, you're going to notice that the screen looks different. We have a lot of different forms here. Okay. Our folder for consultation, it says we're looking for the exclusive buyer's representation agreement, working with a real estate agent, disclaimer notice, wire fraud, and the importance of getting a home inspection. Notice under the requirement section, all these documents are required, okay? If I hover over the little I, it gives me a little information. Note, this document needs to be uploaded after the buyer and agent have signed. You can look at that for each one. If you're not 100% sure what these forms are, if you click on the title of the form, it will give you an example of the form that we're looking for. You can simply click the X in the right-hand corner and that form will go away. Now, notice that this says DS beside all of these. Here's some magic for you. Once I click start transaction and tell it that I want to do this in DocuSign, what's going to happen is these forms are going to automatically appear for me in my DocuSign room. Pretty cool, right? But before we jump over to that, let's go ahead and look at the under contract folder. You'll notice that some forms are optional, some forms are conditionally required, and then other forms are required, okay? So if I hover over the I, it will give me some information. Upload a copy of the proof of the earnest money when it was collected. Okay, so this is just when you turned in your binder. This is when you requested your binder. Conditionally required. If I hover over the I, it tells me. Condition. If the compensation is to be different than what is listed in the MLS, then this form is required. There is your condition. Okay. Let's look at an FHA VA amendment condition. Condition, when a client uses an FHA or a VA loan, this form is required. So these little I's are your friends. If you're not sure if you need something, just look at the I and it will tell you if you need it or not. Yes, if it has a red required, it is required. Confirmation of agency is required. If you remember in the past, we used to require the confirmation of agency on the listing side to be in the listing consult. That is not the case anymore. We only require the confirmation of agency once it has been signed by all the parties in the under contract section, okay? Notice the purchase and sales agreement here has a DS beside of it. Again, that means that it is going to be automatically populated in our DocuSign room for us. Okay, let's look at the closed folder real quick. Same thing. All the forms have been broken out. No more packet, okay? Required is required. Conditionally required is only required if it was used in the transaction. All right, let's go ahead and start that room by clicking the Start Transaction. It's going to go ahead and it's going to jump me into DocuSign. Voila. Notice my room automatically populated with those forms. The listing side is going to populate with forms that are required to be started on the listing agent side. The buyer side is rooms are going to be populated with documentation that's started by the buyer. If you don't need all of this documentation right away, just create yourself a folder, add folder, and move the documents around. You may call the folders whatever you want. Just going to go ahead and move my purchase and sales up here, my repair proposal, and my repair amendment. That way I'm just looking at the documentation that I need to get signed at the start of when I first get this client. Okay, it's as easy as that. Now I'm just going to bring in some random documentation into this room so that I can show you what compliance is going to look like, okay? Bear with me for 1 second. All right, I'm going to add some documentation that we're going to pretend has been signed. By the clients and is ready to go. My advice to you is to make folders for the specific folders in Command. So what that means is we've got a buyer consult file, so buyer documents. We've got a under contract file, so under contract documents. And we also have a closed documents file. So my advice is go ahead and make those folders out. Then when you're getting documentation signed, where it ends up, just go ahead and move it into that file in DocuSign so it's easier for you to find. Okay, I'm just going to randomly move some documentation here so I can quickly show you, go back into Command and show you what that's going to look like. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here into Command. We're going to pretend that we got all these lovely forms signed. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our buyer consult, okay? We're just going to pretend that we got all this information signed, okay? Now, attach files from DocuSign, working folder, okay? This is why it's important to make those folders in DocuSign. I can tell it that I just want to use my buyer documents folder in DocuSign. And guess what? It's only going to show me the forms that is in that buyer documents folder. Notice I didn't put anything in there. That's okay. I'm just going to switch this to room documents. Now here's my list. I'm just going to pretend that these are the correct forms. So I'm just going to put the lead-based paint here. We're going to pretend that's where it goes. And then I want you to notice something. Notice that it's not on my list anymore. Once you place a form in a slot, it kind of disappears from the list. So you're not having to filter through all those forms over and over and over again, which is really nice. Okay, I'll simply tell it which form goes where, and then I'll hit Submit to MC. Once I hit to Submit to MC, Erin and Jen will get a notification that they need to check that file. Then, of course, I'll move to the under contract, do the same thing, and then after closing, I'll do the closing section. So really, not a whole lot's changed. All the same forms that we were supposed to be uploading before are still required here. It's just we've tried to make the process a little easier for you, give you a list instead of making packets. As you can see, if you're using DocuSign, it is very simple to quickly and easily upload the documentation from DocuSign into Command and submit for review. Now, I do want to make a note that if for any reason you have submitted documentation, and I'm just going to kind of throw a couple things out here. Some more documents. Okay, I got all that required. I'm going to go ahead and submit this to the MC. We're going to pretend we went to closing, something happened at closing, and the deal fell through. You do not have to delete this documentation out, and you do not have to start a new opportunity. If something happened, and while it was under contract, it fell apart, all you need to do is come up here we're in the under contract file. It says under contract right here. If I hit this little arrow, I can add a new version, create new version. I get a whole new checklist that I can then, once I get the new documentation signed, I can add it to it and then hit submit. So there's no need to panic if you've submitted something and it fell apart. All you got to do is hit create new version. That keeps you from having to upload your buyer documentation again. For those of you who are creating a new opportunity every time something falls apart, stop doing that. Just use the same opportunity and hit create new version. That's for your buyers, okay? So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I hope this has been helpful. And I hope you guys like the new checklists. We have tried our best to make this process just as easy for you as we can. I'm here to answer any questions or listen to any of your concerns. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.